Hey everybody, Zach here with Infernal Tool Technologies, and if you've been following the channel for a little bit of time now, then you may have realized that I have fallen down the rabbit hole of the whole green energy movement and the control of emissions on corporations and different types of fossil fuels and what this all means for the construction industry. And so this next video I'm bringing to you is an article that just came out a couple days ago, and it kind of really shines a light on everything that I've been talking about with how green energy and sustainability is coming to the construction industry. So I'll put this link to this article down in the description below. I highly encourage you to read it. It's not a very lengthy article, but basically what the article entails is the World Green Building Council has stated pretty openly that they want by 2030 for corporations who are part of the Net Zero Carbon Building Committee, which we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, that they will need to have their carbon emissions. They will need to cut their emissions by half in the production of commercial buildings or whatever buildings they're actually producing. So, throughout the entire process of building that structure, they have to have the total emissions that are happening. And not only do they what they're emitting to actually build the project, but all the materials that they are using on that project count towards that emission total. So it's not only what the practices they're doing on the job site, but it's the actual materials that they are selecting to use that are entailed in this. And so, from what this article states, is it says that the built environment, so the construction industry building um, structures, is responsible for 40% of the global carbon emissions. And this is what I've been talking about lately, how they've really been talking about a green movement and they want people to start being more conscious of the environment, and they really haven't come down on construction too hard until now. It's going to be coming soon. All these industries, they have stated they want them to get to a certain standard by 2030, and then the final goal is 2050 is where they want to be totally sustainable and really reduce emissions. So yeah, they say 40% of the global carbon emissions are coming from the construction industry. And it makes sense. I mean, a lot of the practices that we use are not very sustainable, and a lot of the materials that we're using are not recyclable. So it makes a lot of sense with what they're saying on that. I don't know if it's 40%, if that's a very accurate statistic, but we'll just go with it for the means of this article, and we'll do our research going forward and make sure that that's actually accurate. So, basically, what they are stating in this article is a little bit about what I said is the whole life cycle of the structure that they built will have to be sustainable. So the sources of electricity or natural gas that is being used in this structure has to be um, not impactful on the environment, basically. So it has to be renewable energies that they're really pushing, and I'm not sure about the gas standards, if natural gas is what they're trying to push or if they're trying to just stay away from gas in general. But yeah, not only with the actual structure of the building and when you are building it, do you have to be conscious of what you're actually emitting, but at the whole entire life of that building has to be sustainable as well. So that's going to be really difficult for corporations and developers to they're going to use a lot of mental power to have to project into the future to know what people are going to use and what the space is going to even be used for. You might build this structure and have a space in mind that's going to be used as, and that could be maybe 10, 20, 50 years, but we're talking about the life cycle of this building that you have to have these sustainable practices working for. So that's crazy. I mean, that's a lot of mental power that needs to be put into um, how what this structure is going to be used for in the future. People don't even know what it's going to be used for. So that sounds a little bit ludicrous to me, but maybe they're just trying to get people to start thinking more about the way that they're building these structures and what the world is going to be turning into. So this article is also talking about how they really want to move towards more sustainable materials. And like in the last video I talked about, there was a company called Vive, and they seem like the poster child of what this article is talking about, because they are building these panels and everything in a factory, and they're using products that are, they say, sustainable, and they are on the job site eliminating the trades basically, and having just a core group of people who can build these homes and build them faster than the traditional methods used. So they're really paving the way for what it seems like this article is talking um, about who the World Green Building Council is really interested in, and is going to probably give them the green light. And these are some things that we really need to think about, because there's going to come a day, like I keep saying, where they're going to start coming after wood. They're going to say wood is not sustainable, and that we need to stop making structures and renovating structures in wood. And so many businesses rely completely on that. There's so many home builders that's all they've done for their whole life of their business is worked with wood. So small changes nowadays are going to make your business last through the test of time, really. So you need to maybe start trying to use steel stud framing, um, and use different practices and different materials, maybe different finishes. Work with some suppliers who use finishes that, maybe like this company Vive, they use a resin based wall system, so walls that are made of resin. And just start thinking about these things, because as you can probably see nowadays, things are coming so quickly down the pipeline. So many people are having their lives turned upside down because the world's moving so quickly. And the construction industry, unfortunately, is going to get hit extremely hard by this. They're going to start putting these laws and regulations in to where businesses are going to go under because they have not adapted. And I don't know what it takes. I'm going to have to do some more digging to see what entails signing up to be part of this net zero carbon building committee, if it's something that you even want to sign up for, or potentially you're going to get forced into signing into. So check out the next videos that are coming, because I'm going to start doing some research on this to really try to get to the core of what is going to happen to the construction industry, because something's happening to it, and it's not going to be pretty for a lot of people. But if you can get on this committee, pretty simply, if you're a developer out there or a big general contractor and you want to get on this committee, then we're gonna get to the bottom of this and see if we can get to the forefront of what is going to be happening. Because if they make some laws and regulations where you can't use wood in framing homes anymore, and they start fining lumber mills, and they start putting a lot of taxes and regulations on lumber mills, is going to become to the point where it's not even affordable to build these homes. That's basically what they're going to do. They're going to make it unaffordable to build homes with wood. And you don't want to be the person that's raising your prices a lot and just trying to build these homes. We need to either take action into changing this, where we can figure out a sustainable way to use wood and work around it to where we can still be sustainable and still build beautiful structures. Because I am totally in love with wood structures, the trims, the moldings. It's really hard to replicate it. They're making some very good innovation out there with their PVC cellular boards like AZEK and different Trimtex and stuff like that, and composite decking, and that stuff's great. And they're having it to where you can sculpt it to make pretty cool trim designs and everything, but it just doesn't look as good as wood and paint. So unfortunately, I love the old practices. I'm a carpenter myself. I love it, and it just seems like this is going to start we're going to start taking a shift away from these practices, and it's going to be hard to see, but who knows, maybe we'll come out with some new innovation or expand upon innovation that we already have and come out with some stuff that's pretty amazing as well, because I don't think we're going to take away from craftsmanship. Us as humans, we just have a want and a need to build beauty, and I think we're gonna take that along with us, even if we have to move away from some of our original practices, which is unfortunate. But we don't write the laws, and that's just the way it is. Sometimes you gotta kind of follow the wave, and you want to be maybe behind it, or be the surfer who's ready to get on the wave and not get bulldozed by it, because a lot of people are going to get bulldozed by what's coming down the pipeline. Just imagine right now, it's 2021, getting to the end of 2021, almost 2022. So we have about 8 years from now to where they want, from this article, what it's saying is they want to have the carbon emissions. That's gigantic. I mean, just think of all the diesel vehicles that are used on a major construction site. Trying to have the amount of emissions on those vehicles, it's almost unheard of. And a lot of people are going to probably just throw in the towel if by 2030 they just haven't made these changes. So I'm really trying to reach out to the people in the industry who are making big projects, like developers out there and large general contractors, because this is going to threaten your business. It 100% is. Because if by 2030 they put forward some law or regulation that says that you have to be emitting only a certain amount into the environment, and you're not prepared for that, you're gonna go under. And these people that are taking the steps nowadays, just small steps, start just researching this stuff, or keep watching these videos, because I'm going to be researching this stuff and trying to help you guys out there, and navigate through what's going to be happening over these next few years, because it's crucial what we're going to be seeing in the construction industry. But if you can make these small steps right now by looking into the vehicles that you have on your fleet, or the contractors that you're subbing out to, the way that they're actually being sustainable as well on your job site, then when it comes to 2030, maybe you can be fully prepared. Every year, have a goal that you want to get something about sustainability done in your company. And you could potentially be one of those people that stick around, and you can make a lot of wealth off of the people that are going to go under. You're going to take all that business from them, unfortunately. And you can do good with that as well, which in my other videos I have talked about how we should be thinking about ways of bettering the world. But like I said, from what I'm reading, this is something that we all need to be aware of, is coming down the pipeline. And in the coming videos, I will start talking about maybe some of the practices that we all could be taking on a day-to-day basis or a yearly basis to really change the dynamic of your business and make sure that you're on the winning side of this, because I don't think many people are going to be. So if you have anything or any knowledge about what's coming down the pipeline with being carbon neutral, or the emissions, the standards that are going to be coming, then please put a comment down below. I would love to hear from you guys and start this discussion. And if I brought any value to you today, then hit the like button and share it with anybody else who needs to hear this. If you have a buddy who is a developer or a GC or even just a remodeler, just send this video over to them or put them to my page, and maybe it could potentially help them make these small changes that they're gonna need to make over these next few years. So, like always, I appreciate you guys listening, and I'll see you guys on the next one.